Oh, we're off. I'd like to just talk about modifying and changing the setup within the sequencer to control different instruments. It's a little fiddlier than I would have liked, but that's mainly due to the fact Reactor doesn't recognise internal MIDI channels. It does when you send them from outside, but if you send from an internal instrument to an internal instrument, it just goes onto Omni, which is real. It means I can't, different setups. It's just really limiting, I find. Anyway, I'm not on a rant, honest. So what I'd like to show today is how to change things. Right, so say we want rid of the nanowave. That's the instrument that's mainly been played on by the sequencers. It's there on this page, and we go there and hit delete, and we get rid of it. And we'll change that for oh, it all went quiet there. That's now what we're going to do is I'm going to set Razor up with the vocoder so that the sequencer is playing Razor, and it's also vocoding what the map player outputs. So if I take this is a simple mixer, sorry, I haven't explained this that well. There's the beat looper there, so if we also route that so it goes into the Razor ensemble, like so, and so we'll have the beat looper on its own on channels 2, and we'll have the Razor on channel 1. What we also need to do is we need to connect this, so if you push play now it won't make a sound. So we need to physically in software connect the two. So what we do is highlight Razor. Now I'll give you a little tip here. When you drag an ensemble in, this one's okay, but some of them aren't. If you start to connect that Razor to the sequencer, you sometimes don't hear anything. So what I've found is if I go to the main screen, and we'll just drag that over there, if I highlight whatever's on screen and then connect that, that's 9 times out of 10 ensures that I'm connecting the right object, because sometimes you've got to connect the instrument inside the ensemble. It can get, especially if you've added it like I just did. God, I've made that sound confusing. Right, so we have Razor there, and we want that to be played by the sequencer. So we go from select internal instruments. I said that wrong, but you know what I mean. So we want the main sequencer, which is V2.6 vss, and we want the 2 subsequencers, and we'll just leave that at the moment. If we wanted the LFOs or any of the other things to control it, we just highlight them there, and then they will go to it. But Razor has different ways of controlling it. The MIDI side of it doesn't always work the way you thought it did, and you get in a mess. Right. Okay, so let's see what we're at to now. So with any luck, we should get a Razor noise coming out. Yay. Oh, hang on, let me just change the latency settings as I had them nice and comfortable for me in the headphones, and Razor doesn't like it. Doesn't like it? Right. Let's try that. Good. Not getting into the red, and I'll suffer the latency. Right. So that's Razor just playing as normal. Transposing via the keyboard. Right. It's probably set up. I'm glad I did that. It shows one of the pitfalls. At the moment, my master keyboard is playing Razor and the sequencer. So if you were using it to transpose, you will get a double first. The note that you're hitting to transpose the sequencer will also play Razor. So let's stop it doing that by going to external instruments from, and we'll put that at none. If we want to access that from the keyboard, we use the MIDI thru function here. So at the moment, I'm hitting the key, nothing. Right, and I know exactly why, because we haven't connected Razor to the master MIDI module. It's good I'm showing you this, because this is showing you all the things that will go wrong. Right, Ensemble Master MIDI, click that, and now, good. And if we click that, the volume should work. And obviously, Razor isn't set up to receive volume on MIDI 7. Right, just ignore that last minute. Right, so we now have, I can now transpose it without getting a double no. Right, so that's us. Let's just set. Excuse the right, we've just got a basic drum loop playing. I've just set that to just basically play the whole sample and triggering it twice. Right, so we'll just mute that. And now if we go to Razor, and choose a vocoder setting. We are now getting the drum loop being vocoded by Razor, and the pitches are coming through here. Changing the loop. Let's add some chords into this. It's quite good I haven't set this up, so you can see what I'm doing. One thing you have to watch out for is as soon as you bring in the subsequencers, that Razor has to be set to poly. That's relevant to all synthesizers basically. You get a completely different effect when it's in mono mode. Not to say sometimes it's always worth pushing that button just to see what happens. That's awfully quiet. Tags. And just stepping through the presets. Turns a rather average everyday drum loop into something a tad more interesting. Now the other thing modifications you can make, numerous, but basically this is the full package that's here. If you don't use all of that stuff and you don't like it, you want a bit more minimalist, you can just go into here and get rid of it. So for instance, if you don't want to use The only yeah, P1 and P2, hang on to those things there, but a key monitor if you want rid of them. So for instance, if you want rid of all the modulation doodads, just go in there and hit erase, and fingers crossed, go to the panel. Yep. So you could, in essence, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. Right, so now we should just have, oops, and let's just switch view off for that. There we go. So now we've just got the basic sequencer. Ah, I know why it's not playing. It's because, of course, the drum loop's disappeared, not been triggered. Let's just put this onto keys and bells. Ah, thank you. So all of a sudden you're just down to, if you switch the header on for instrument, you can build up your own snapshots. So then you've just got a very simple sequencer set up. That's actually the first time I've done that, so I'm quite relieved that that worked.